share, pour a cup, take it slow. We've got stories to share and places to go. From memories past to dreams we're chasing. Life's better sip, no need for rushing or racing.
Coffee in his hand, tea in mine tonight. Two hearts, one table under warm cafe light.
This is Brewed Banter, where conversations flow. Laughing about the crazy things life loves to throw. Hanging with Erica and Ralph side by side. Every little moment, we're taking it in stride. So grab your mug, settle in, stay a while. You're part of the vibe, part of the smile.
From travel tales to days we've grown through. Faith, love, lessons, the real and the true.
A little bit goofy, a little bit deep. Late night talks when the world's asleep.
We don't need fancy, just honest and kind. Good friends, warm drinks, and peace of mind.
This is Brewed Banter, where conversations flow. Laughing about the crazy things life loves to throw. Hanging with Erica and Ralph, sharing life our way through every season, every new day. So grab your mug, settle in, stay a while. You're part of the story, part of the smile. Here's to the moments we hold on to tight.
The tears, the joy, the comfort of night.
To fresh starts, hope, and finding our way.
One sip, one laugh, one day at a time.
This is Brewed Banter,
Pull up a seat, my friend,
where the talk never fades.
and the heart never ends.
Hanging with Erica and Ralph,
Yeah, that's the plan.
just real life.
Shared cup in hand.
It's Friday night, and the mood is right. We're gonna have some fun, show you how it's done. TGI.
The Brewed Banter. We are hanging out here and kind of raiding the place. I brought some friends along with me. So no fancy intros. I'm just going to pull them all in as they pop on. Jeremy,
Hey, what's up, Tom?
we got Vash,
What's going on?
we got Lorne Connors,
Afternoon.
we got Mr. Barry Place,
Always a pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
and we got Follow Bradley's Fun, Ron.
Hello there.
Gentlemen, what are y'all drinking today? I got coffee and a nice blueberry mug with a dog on it.
A little bit of coffee myself.
Green tea. I've got a limeade slush.
Oh, that actually sounds good.
I'm the only one drinking alkaline water.
I'm
I just
drinking.
came back from LAX.
Oh man,
Oh, wow.
I don't envy that.
No.
Ow. Wow, it's pretty cool. So how was that day at LAX there?
Crazy. LAX is always crazy. It's never fun to drive through LAX, but once you leave, then it's okay. The drive home is not too bad.
Okay. That's really good. Lorne, what's up with you guys? What's everybody up to? I mean, it's a Friday. We're raiding. We're taking over this place. Do we want to knock down some walls?
Uh, my week kind of blew up a little bit. I had tried to factor in getting things done early this week so I could focus on some spring cleaning stuff. I had to get my irrigation system up and running yesterday, but I had some things fall behind, and my filter blew up in the irrigation system, so I had to take that apart and kind of rearrange some things, get that going again. So I'm back to my normal schedule, I guess. Tonight we're doing the Lorne of the Apollo show at 8 Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern Time. We're covering the cinema of 1983.
Oh,
Nice.
Nice. That's cool.
I'm gonna have to check that out. Well, you know, I'm always there lurking, and as I'm trying to stay awake, and then all of a sudden my sixth cup of coffee comes into play, and then I'm awake for a little bit, and then I just crash out hard.
Yep. I told Kevin to go nuts on his list tonight because unfortunately, the early 80s have been a little bit slim pickings, and there ends up being a little bit of a fight between everybody because the early birds grab all the good stuff. And so all of us have sort of a short list this week, but Kevin always fills it out with the most magnificent list of schlock that he can find. So hopefully it'll be fun tonight.
Cool. And how about you, Vash? What do you got up your sleeve?
Oh, well, I'm just going to be working on some PC issues that I'm trying to get nailed down. That's why I'm actually not on camera right now, because that streaming machine is under the knife once again. To cool down that CPU there. It is, approaching very hot levels there. I understand it's a hot CPU. But we're getting some background noise when I go live because the fans have to ramp up and keep that thing cool. So I'm trying
And you're
to
running
alleviate
120s on
those
that
issues.
thing too, aren't you?
What's that?
What size are you running? 120s or 155s?
In terms of fans?
The fans.
Oh yeah. I've got about 13 120s in there, so it's like it's a
They
lot.
shouldn't be running that hard.
I know. That's why I'm in the middle of trying to suss out why exactly the fans are ramping up to the extent that they are, especially if we're just streaming. Now, sometimes you do get intensive stuff when it comes to the tabs and so forth, as Bob has seen before, and I'm sure Tom is familiar with. I'm sure Lord's familiar with as well. But it shouldn't be running like, 60 plus degrees or something like that. It's very strange to me. I understand that the 14900K runs hot, but this is a little bit ridiculous. So
Yeah, you got a honking video card in there too, so that doesn't
right,
help.
I got the 5090, but that doesn't really do a lot.
It
of
shouldn't
processing
spool
for
up.
streaming.
It shouldn't spool
Yeah.
up for streaming. I mean,
It's so weird. So I'm looking into that. So unfortunately, a lot of IT tech issues in my immediate future.
I might be able to help you. I might not. I might be able to just point and laugh and say somebody's dealing it besides me.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, let's Ron, what do you got up your sleeve?
Well, let's see. I'm editing a video which is a part of the dish. The dish drops. You were in it, Tom. You and Lou. That Oscar Isaac subject that we covered. Finishing that up, and then I've got some running around to do. I've got errands to run a little bit, and then I'm going to pop on the That Park Place broadcast later in the afternoon for the 30K.
30K, that's awesome.
So subscriber celebration over there. And tomorrow, I will be not in person, but attending the memorial funeral service for Alan Osman online. So it's probably going to go out to quite a lot of people.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so I'll be doing that. It's really funny. There's a story if you want to ask me about. You let me know when you get into it. The story about Alan that I haven't shared anywhere. I can share it here, and it's pretty unique.
You know what? You guys want to hear that?
Sure.
Go for it.
All right, so this was, in Branson, Missouri, when they run shows, they run a couple shows a day, right? So we are between shows at the Osmond Theater. Now, the second generation was the name of
I don't know if it was that clever of a name or not, but basically, second generation Osmonds were Alan's boys, um, David and Nathan and Doug and Michael and the rest of them. Anyway, they performed with the Osmonds at their theater, and so all of his boys were there, and it was between shows, and I'm there. We've got kind of nothing to do, and he's going to take his kids out to lunch, and he's like, "Hey, Ron, you want to come with us?" I'm like, "Okay." I'm like, that's a very nice invitation. So we go to TGI Fridays, and this was so funny, and I will never ever forget the situation where we're at TGI Fridays, and I don't think the waiter knew who these guys were, um, and and he goes, "Are all of these son, are all these boys yours?" And Suzanne was with us too. It was Alan, Suzanne, and the boys, and myself, and I'm like the only one that's like not an Osmond. So he goes, "Are all these boys yours?" And Alan goes, "Oh yeah, they're all mine. Oh, except for him, but we'll adopt him." So I'm pointing to me, and so I'm like, "Oh wow, I'm kind of an adopted Osmond now." I always treasure that little moment, and it was a lot of fun. We had a good time there at TGI Fridays, but it's still very surreal to me, that people I grew up with as idols when I was a kid, watching Donnie and Marie and the Christmas specials and all that stuff, later became like personal friends. It's still weird, but they're great people. So what am I going to say?
Can't say nothing but enjoy what you had happen, man.
Yeah,
It's it makes you are. Okay,
yeah.
not last, but the last person on the panel to ask. What have you been up to, Jeremy? What do you got cooking?
Well, can you hear me first?
Yes.
Okay,
But you're not on Verizon.
Yeah, I just having equipment stuff. I'm not going to talk about the week so much. I'm drinking some decaf, just hanging out for a bit, and I'll be doing my live stream at 4. So it was a week. It was a week.
Yeah, but you got some good music coming today, right?
Yeah. So 4 o'clock. Really been mixing up the streams with doing the vocal and acoustic, and playing now electric guitar with the backing track. So we've added a lot of new elements to the stream. So that's been a lot of fun.
Drums.
Dr-
He didn't do drums yet. Maybe you can get you
no,
to do
only
drums.
when I do a
Ron.
backing track. No, we're gonna try to get a piano on here, a keyboard, but I'm running
I
out
can
of space.
I can beatbox for you.
It's tempting. That is the white man's burden right there.
Lauren, can we get you to come sing some songs on Jeremy's channel?
No, but I'll hum.
You'll hum? Okay. Harmonica, maybe? Bob could do some singing for us.
No, I don't sing. That's a no-go, right?
You know what Lauren can do, and this would be amazing. I don't know if you guys watch Lauren's videos, just reading stories and stuff, which they are awesome, by the way. But Lauren telling a story backed by some guitar music by Jeremy would be kind of awesome, actually.
Ooh, so it's like books on tape, but with music backing. Oh, I like that. That'd be kind of
With an audience who doesn't know what a tape is, but yes.
Yeah, well, yeah. Well, yeah. Did we just date ourselves? Vash is like, don't include me.
Is that an 8-track tape or no?
Well,
Well, reel to reel, man. Where are you talking
It's
8-track?
it's the kind where you have to rewind it with a pencil when it gets out of the loop.
That's a cassette. That's more advanced than an 8-track there, Rob.
That's true. I love the 8-track. The 8-tracks, man.
How about some DAT tape, guys? We could do that.
I have
There we
one of
go.
those too.
I do have
Like-
one.
like
I need to get a reader. Yeah.
So let's talk some stuff, just random stuff. I mean, that's what this is about, bantering about different things.
But the Michael Jackson movie is coming out today, right?
I think did that come out
Yes,
today?
it is.
Yeah, today.
Yes,
Officially.
I released a cover of Human Nature, in anticipation, and I am really curious to hear the returns, because the stills I've seen, I don't know. If anyone has actually seen it, just let me know, because I am curious.
So
Jeremy,
pro
you you released Human Nature.
Yeah, an acoustic.
Can I ask why? Why?
Lauren, you're
Put the
gonna say
dad jokes in the back.
Lauren,
Yeah.
it's all Lauren.
So Pro and Tom Connors went and saw Michael last night and did a mini review of it after they got back, and both of them were floored by the movie. They said it's incredible. Both of them rated it an 8 out of 10. Said
Whoa.
that Jafar's performance was really. Basically, they said they didn't think that they could AI this, that he embodied the character of Michael in a way that they never expected. Said that I didn't realize that this was the first of a two-parter. And so it only gets you up to a certain point of the timeline, which is
Right.
before the really controversial stuff hits. That'll be covered in the second movie, but they do get into what a difficult life that he had under his father, how that affected him, how that made him a kind of a weird guy. But you definitely get the talent that is there as well. They said that they didn't shy away from some things that they expected that they probably would. So they were both very enthusiastic about the movie and recommended it as a watch.
Here's what I
And
don't
that's
get.
I honestly love that I didn't know they broke it up into two pieces, but
Yeah.
I do love that they did that because they are two very different stories. So that's encouraging to hear. Thank you, Lauren.
Here's what I don't understand about this whole thing. Okay, this Michael film. I think when the trailers
From
first
the
popped
stills, Michael's a very hard aesthetic.
off, right?
Just as a person, very hard when people try to mimic that look. So the stills, even from the Thriller video kind of reshoot, all look very, very convincing. So
Yeah.
I'm really encouraged that it sounds like they did a good job.
I think people were largely maybe split on the aesthetics. To your point, Jeremy, but I think people have given it a chance, and it's so weird because Rotten Tomatoes, with the initial critic score that they viewed, it was like 25%
I
or
haven't
something.
heard
It's
this
now-
much dead air since my wedding. What
Yeah.
happened?
Well,
Oh,
I mean,
wait.
it moved up to like maybe 40% now because I think a lot of that based on the overwhelming positivity coming from the viewers score, which is now 96%. A lot of people raving about it. A lot of people saying, why were the critics so harsh on this? It is so weird, this film, that it's being excoriated by, I don't know, the critic intelligentsia out there versus the audience really, really liking this film. I just don't know
There-
why there's a disconnect here.
Their take on it was that they think that the critics were looking for them to get into that controversial stuff that we didn't see in this movie.
Right.
And so they were looking for a particular narrative, and they were upset that they didn't get it. And their take seems to be because they didn't shy away from the stuff in the first half. They think that they're going to get into that in the second half. Now there are some wrinkles there apparently, and this is kind of why the movie got split into two. Is what they told me, is that apparently the estate has an agreement with some of the people that were involved in suing Michael, that they can't be named or shown or anything in dramatizations of what went on, is my understanding. And apparently the estate forgot to tell the studio that. And so they had filmed a large portion of the movie and then realized, oh, we've got a legal problem here. And so it sounds like what they did was they recut the movie, only took it up to this point, and apparently it's still like a 2.5 hour movie. It's pretty long. And then they kind of wanted to wait to see what is the reaction to the movie. And that's what's going to determine whether or not they fully go on to
Part two.
doing the second half.
I see.
But it sounds like audience reaction, the real audience reaction, has been positive. And so I think there's a very good chance that they're going to continue to edit and put together the second half of the story, but they're going to have to massage that bit that they can't actually use.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
That was my understanding too. We're gonna go see it tomorrow, me and my family, and I'm looking forward to seeing it. I think from what I've seen in the trailers, it looks like it's gonna be a really good film. When I started reading some of the reviews that started coming out, to be honest with you, I don't really care about the critics or the media,
Right.
they don't ever put anything in a good light typically, unless it's in their favor as they want it. But to me, it's like if they're telling his story, it's a good story. I know that some people were also kind of critical because it's the same director that did the Bohemian Rhapsody film.
Yep.
And obviously things were a little bit different there for that film.
Sure.
But if they're doing a part one, part two, it gives them a lot of opportunity to focus on those areas that might be kind of controversial for the second one, and we'll see how they handle it if they do a part two, and hopefully they will. But I was always more interested in the first part of Michael's life, before it got to all that other stuff. So that's why I'm looking forward to this. And his nephew does an amazing job of covering how Michael was, and I think it's it's a I don't know if you guys read it, but I mean, he was working hours and hours and hours. He was staying, I mean, he was dancing so much his toenails were falling off. He wanted to get the character down right for his uncle and, portray his uncle in a great light. And he wanted to be authentic. And obviously he did it.
So one of the things that might interest you then, since you were interested in the first part of his life, Tom Connors is a giant Michael Jackson fan, which I didn't know before last night.
Neither did I.
And one of the things that they talked about is Coleman Domingo's performance as Joe Jackson, the patriarch of the family. And what Pro was saying is that, he beat Michael. He drove this whole family to be rich and famous and to ride off of their backs and all of that stuff.
Right.
And they said they didn't shy away from that. And Pro said that there is, and I think Tom said this as well, when Coleman Domingo comes on the scene, you start holding your breath. You feel the tension yourself. And they said it's there throughout the entire movie. It's like a taut violin string. And then when he's being charming, when he doesn't go off, you let out a sigh of relief. You have this, oh, thank God that he's not in a mood. And the way the Pro put it was that they dance right up to that line where you as the audience member say, okay, I don't want to see this anymore. They get right up to there, and then it's enough, and you get the point. So they don't overdo it, but they don't shy away from it.
That's good.
Do you guys remember the Jacksons, the American Dream series? Okay, that was uncomfortable, and I don't think it's going to get near what this was. But they did make you see that Joe was very much a tour de force. But it sounds like they went another level. I wonder if they're going to have to do like trigger warnings for people, if it's so realistic.
Well, one of the comments that I saw somebody make in the chat last night was Joe Jackson versus Ike Turner. Could you imagine what that dynamic would have been? And I think it's probably something pretty similar. They had similar type personalities.
The weird thing is he was accurate in his assessment of what it would take for them to be famous. And I don't know if that's a sad state of the industry or just he had this gift to see the finish line, but a very dysfunctional way of getting there.
Right.
Interesting.
Well, I think the central hook that Pro took from it was that this movie is showing you how important the presence of a good father is and what happens when you don't have a good father.
Right.
And I think that's why it resonated with him. For Tom, it was all about the embodiment of Michael. And they were both pretty effusive in how well they replicated certain scenes, events. The performance of Jafar was a highlight of both of their reviews. So I think if you guys are Michael fans, you'll be happy.
That's really, really encouraging.
I'm going to rewatch the parts of This Is It, and I'll see if I can find The American Dream, because This Is It was actually really well done. They had everything up until, the performance was going to be released. You had Orianthi was the lead guitarist, and all the stuff on stage that build up to what was going to be basically his financial resurrection with that final show. So I wonder if you could binge everything once this is out on media. Do a Jackson's The American Dream, do This Is It, and then do this new movie.
I recorded on VHS the Jackson's The American Dream. I don't know if I still have it in my tapes somewhere because I don't have a player for those tapes, but I do have the whole bunch of tapes. I have a ton of Michael Jackson VHS, like professional tapes that I bought back in the day of like his video collection, like Smooth Criminal. I have that whole one where it's the extended Smooth Criminal, which they don't really play a whole lot of places anymore. It's very, very difficult to find the entire. I don't know how many people remember that Smooth Criminal came out. There was like a short movie, almost a 30-minute long movie with kids and stuff, and
I didn't know. I
and
don't remember
the
that.
rabbit rabbit cartoon character was in it.
Who's that
Um,
famous actor?
they Just Leave Me Alone was a part of that long form video, but Smooth Criminal, the song in that short film, I don't know how long it lasted. It went on for like 10 minutes of different like stop and starts and stuff. It was pretty cool. And then of course I have all the Janet Jackson stuff from back then, so this will be interesting. I don't know when I'm going to get a chance to see the movie, but I'll definitely want to go out and see it.
Well, they made an arcade game of that video, and all the parts of the extended are basically the theme of that video game. You turn into a robot with late. It was actually a ridiculously fun video game. But you would hit a bonus, and once you hit a bonus on the level, everyone would do the dance routine, and all the bad guys would die. That was your level up.
Yep, that was a cool game.
You remember?
When I was like, I don't know, I want to say around 12, 13, close to my youngest son's age, everybody in my neighborhood used to call me Little Michael Jackson because I would run around the neighborhood. That was like the time that was the height of his fame. I had the glove, I had the Thriller jacket. I
Did you have
would
parachute
go.
pants?
I
Did you
had
wear parachute
parachute pants, black. I would wear the black parachute pants, and yeah, I got my parachute pants at Merry-Go-Round. I'll never forget that.
Oh man, I
Um,
haven't heard that store's name in ever.
I worked there for a time when I was younger, but
Ron,
yeah,
where the
no,
hell haven't you
I was,
worked? Where the hell haven't you worked?
I worked a lot of places, lots and lots of places. I have a large collection of name tags and hairnets, just like in the movie. Anyway, no, it was. I was absolutely loved Michael Jackson as a kid. And as a matter of fact, when my sister brought home the Thriller album, that album cover was basically just Michael Jackson's face, like him laying there. I did a pencil portrait of that for one of my sixth grade art projects for art class, and it was an A. So yeah, that was
Nice.
back in the day. It's funny because he dominated the 1980s, and then I mean, he was great in the 1990s too, but there was just all kinds of talk and chatter about what his personal life may or may not have been like. I think that we probably will never actually know, but there are definitely Macaulay Culkin talks about it, and Corey is it Corey Feldman? Corey Feldman talks about it.
Yeah.
So
Just don't try to play guitar like Corey because it's yeah.
I don't. Yeah.
Even Jeremy's shaking his head at that one.
Yeah, if you haven't seen the video of the breakdown of Corey Feldman playing guitar,
It's hilarious.
it's pretty bad. It's pretty.
It's hilarious. It's like, wow. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that can play. You know, Johnny Depp can play,
Johnny Depp is really good.
and you know, a lot of people don't realize that. And when you see Corey go out there and he does this type of solo thing, you just can't help but laugh because you got to wonder if he's doing it on purpose.
It's guitar adjacent. I don't think it's guitar.
Yeah, I mean, Bob, I mean, it'd be equivalent to you playing it.
I've seen it. I've seen it.
Yeah, a couple of guys have covered it. Stevie T did an entire breakdown of his style.
Hey, we have the show's owner in the chat. Let's all toast her and say, "Thanks for leaving the door open. You let a bunch of rats in."
Ah,
They're moving anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but they're on vacation. You know,
Hey,
we can take it back.
oh,
That's what I'm seeing. I see Snort says, "Steal the show." You know, Snort says, "Take it back, Erica. Take it back." Snort, you're not happy what we did? We're trying to keep the doors and lights going. We're being nice. So,
we're
Bob,
trying.
I forgot to ask you what you were doing this week. I'm totally amiss and
no worries. Well, let's see. I just came back to streaming. So for those of you who don't know, unfortunately, my father passed away. So we had the funeral last week, and now it's just busy kind of taking care of estate stuff. And came back to streaming last night at Disneyland. So had a great stream. Thank you to everyone who came out to support me and
That's
to
cool.
raise $710 for the Chalk Walk last night for the Children's
Wow.
Hospital of Orange
that's
County.
cool.
So we raised quite a bit of money for our Park Streamers team, which is awesome. But today, actually, I might be heading over to Company D a little bit later to do some shopping.
Ooh.
And then my daughter's got a dance recital tonight, which is going to be really cool. Of course, we're going to see the Michael Jackson, film tomorrow, and then Sunday back at Disneyland for Tiki Land Day. So
Hey,
that should be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Bob, any issues with streaming? Like we did a report. There's some reports coming out that there might be cutting back on streaming or changing rules on streaming at Disney. Yeah, you noticed anything yet, or everything same?
Well, I took the last 2 weeks off. I haven't noticed anything, and I didn't notice anything yesterday. I know that Cordy in California, who's also with me on the Park Streamers channel, she had mentioned that there's been a couple times where the cast members are just not very consistent when it comes to rides like Star Tours. Most time you can stream on there, and sometimes they go, "Oh, you can't." So
Right.
it's very inconsistent on how they do things. But there's nothing that's come up. I know there's been a lot of rumors like, "Oh, well, you can't go on Mickey Minis anymore." Yeah, you still. I was on Mickey Minis last night with you just have to have a wrist strap with your gimbal, no problem.
Oh, I see.
I know that there's been rumors about the Incredicoaster, but a couple people like Cordy was also told she couldn't go on Incredicoaster with a wrist strap with a stationary gimbal. But then other people have been able to. So it's been very inconsistent. I just think it's a lot of people coming out of the rumor mill and just saying stuff. Unfortunately, there's a few sensational, Instagram channels and YouTube channels that focus on those things. But so far, nothing major.
And some of the
And if I
stuff
do, I will definitely let you guys know.
some of the stuff is ramped up recently with the
Yes.
profile incidents, like for example Oblivion and
Right.
that whole thing, and what is it, the swatting incident that took place. Also, too, Disneyland Paris has changed rules regarding its use of photography and external equipment, right, bringing in the parks and all of that. So I think a lot of that is kind of swirling together in this witch's brew of rumor mill, as Bob has beautifully pointed out. But that's why you got to get it from the source, because I'm sure, Bob, if something was going down, you'd let us all know about it.
Oh heck yeah! I would post it and let everyone know right away. But so far, it's nothing like that. It's just been a lot of inconsistencies with cast members.
Right.
The thing I will say about Disney, and this is what really makes me happy about that, is that they take it incident by incident, and they usually deal with that specific incident. Hey, maybe one day if a really bad situation comes up, they'll do a blanket, hey, no more streaming or doing this or that in the park. But at the moment, they've just been handling things on a case by case basis, which is nice that they do that. And you've got, unfortunately, like Six Flags, they see a gimbal in your hand in the parks, and they do not let you in. They'll escort you out to the park or to the parking lot to your car. Won't let you back in unless you make sure you don't stream, and you can hold your phone up and stream. That's no problem there. But you can't go on the rides with a camera or anything like that, and unless you're wearing like Meta glasses, and you can't really stream very well on Meta glasses. You can't record a whole ride usually with Meta glasses. It's only like 3.5, 4 minutes long. You can actually record something. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens here in the near future with some of the other parks.
Very interesting. Lauren, I want to go ahead and pick your brain real fast here, because we just got some news this morning, actually, regarding Gina Carano and an appearance that she made on a particular podcast, that being the Ariel Helwani Show. And you're nodding your head. I'm sure you know about this. So Gina Carano goes on there and reveals that she's been speaking to both Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau The quote is, "We got into a Zoom call. It was really nice. Dave is taking over as CEO of Star Wars. We didn't miss a beat. Jon Favreau got on Zoom. It was really funny. He was like, so, where do we leave off? Is there hope, Lauren, that Gina could maybe be brought back in some form or fashion? And maybe we can put all this thing behind us and maybe re-enthuse the fans for Star Wars as a whole."
We actually talked about this on the stream last night after we did the Michael review, and I've been framing it this way. I have been kind of shouting into the wind for a while now that I understand the community is black-pilled, and there's a good reason for that. Lucasfilm and Disney have fallen down on the job for the last, we say 11 years, but it's really 14 because they bought Lucasfilm in 2012. When Gina settled the lawsuit last year, one of the things that they said in the statement, and I'm sure this was part of the settlement, was we look forward to looking into opportunities to work together in the future. Now, that as a statement doesn't mean anything. It's just a statement, but I'm certain that Gina insisted they include it. Now, we know that Gina had spoken to Jon Favreau at various points in the past, but I'm certain that they were precluded from speaking about anything business related because they were in the middle of a lawsuit at that time.
Right.
So it's not unsurprising after the settlement concludes that they would then be able to talk about shop. What is unusual is that Dave Filoni was on that call. And I have also been saying from a period of a little over a year ago, I believe, again, no evidence, this is just what I believe, that a mandate came down internally around the time that they first rumored, I think it was February of last year, that Kathleen Kennedy was stepping down. And she very quickly came out and angrily started doing these pieces in the various trades saying, no, I'm not. I'll leave when I'm ready. But when that all happened, everything in Star Wars land suddenly got very, very quiet. And all of the productions that they said were in the middle of various stages of development, stuff stopped coming out.
Like
And
the
I
Jedi
became
Order
convinced
stuff and all of that.
the Rey movie, the Dawn of the Jedi movie, the Taika Waititi movie, all of that stuff.
Gotcha.
The only two remaining projects that continue to be on the docket were The Mandalorian and Grogu and Starfighter. I believe when Kathleen came out and said, I'm not leaving yet, I'll leave when I'm good and ready, I think a mandate came down from inside saying, actually, it would have been a little bit before that. I think it was actually when they announced that the Acolyte was not going to be continued, I think was really the final straw. And somebody internally at Disney said, all right, we're not moving forward with what Kathleen's doing anymore. We're going to wait her out until she leaves on her timetable. And then we're going to reevaluate and determine what we're going to do. And for the last year, they've been prepping for what they're currently doing, quietly beginning to reintroduce the original trilogy characters into Galaxy's Edge. They know that the 50th anniversary of the release of Star Wars is next year. They're focusing all of their advertising on the original movies. You're not hearing a peep about the sequels. They have a number of tasks that they have to do. The problem that they have is there are two things, if they want to fix Star Wars, that they must do. One of which they can't really do. The other they can, but they have been reluctant in the past to do so. The thing they can't do is jettison the sequel trilogy.
Right.
The thing that they must do is bring Gina back in some capacity and restore the original trilogy characters in a way that satisfies the audience. I think that they've been stuck knowing that we can't jettison the sequel trilogy. We can't give the fans what we want because that window is past. The surviving actors are too old, and not all of the actors are surviving. So they can't give us the Thrawn trilogy. So that leaves the question, what do we do? And I don't think they have a good answer for that. So to me, The Mandalorian and Grogu and Starfighter are kind of an A-B test. One relies on nostalgia and proximity to the original trilogy for its fan base, Starfighter's a different beast. It supposedly references none of the other material. It's a standalone story, but it takes place in the sequel trilogy era, and it's relying on Ryan Gosling for star power. So I think they're trying to answer the question, is it just the sequel trilogy that's unpopular, or is it the idea of being in that era at all? And I think that that's going to determine part of what they do in the future. But we know that Ahsoka season 2 is the last of the TV shows that they still have on the docket. That has to involve Thrawn. They have to correct the mistakes they made with Ahsoka season 1, where Thrawn looked like an idiot. And so, in my personal opinion, I think that we've been misled slightly about what The Mandalorian and Grogu is about. They've been very quiet about the marketing of that movie until recently. And all they're showing us is stuff from the first 10 minutes of the movie, which is not atypical for a marketing campaign, but they're focusing solidly on the Mandalorian is now working for the New Republic. He is attempting to hunt down Imperial warlords who have remained after the destruction of the second Death Star, and that's his job, is to eliminate all of these Imperial warlords. If I was looking at this as a storyteller, I'd be saying, we have to get back to Thrawn. Thrawn looked like an idiot, and they hated us for it. How do I fix that? I have to make Thrawn look smart. So if I was Thrawn, returning to the galaxy from the end of season 1, and I came back to a galaxy where there's all these Imperial warlords that are making a lot of noise, the first thing I'd want to do is eliminate them. I would want them to go away, and I would want to require their resources. And I wouldn't want to put my own resources at risk to do that.
Right.
So what I would do is, through the Hutts, I would start leaking information about where the Imperial remnant leaders are, feeding that to the New Republic, letting them take them out, acquiring their resources, adding them to my own, and then making my strike on the galaxy. Also,
why aren't you writing for Star Wars instead of these buffoons?
Right?
the other thing is, before they sacked Gina, they were setting her up for her own TV series that was supposed to be the Rangers of the New Republic.
Right.
And the idea, initially, Favreau had scripts that were written for a season 4 of The Mandalorian. People think that The Mandalorian and Grogu is those season 4 scripts, but that's not actually correct. What he has said is that all of those scripts were written, but they were written with the idea that people had seen the first 3 seasons of the show and were familiar with the characters. The job of a movie is different than the job of a TV show. And he has to write a movie in such a way that if you've never seen a Star Wars movie, you're coming in fresh, you know nothing about it, you're not going to be lost. You can just jump into it, and this can be your starting out point for this Star Wars story. It will still reward people who know the extra stuff, but you don't have to know it. And what he said was a lot of the stuff that was in season 4 got moved to Ahsoka season 2. So I think Thrawn is hanging out in the unknown regions. Rangers of the New Republic was supposed to be about New Republic marshals essentially roaming the less settled areas of the galaxy, trying to tamp down on Imperial warlords and such. If they were going to bring Gina back in, she could be the one who could stumble upon Thrawn. So what I expect, I don't think she's actually really going to be in The Mandalorian and Grogu, but it wouldn't surprise me if at the tail end, suddenly they get a call from her saying, there's something going on out here in the unknown regions that you need to know about. And that is the trail that leads into Ahsoka season 2.
Right.
Wow.
I mean, I will
Post-credit
say,
scene.
if Gina was featured in these trailers, then everybody would be talking about it. I think right now is this diminished enthusiasm for Star Wars as a whole is kind of rubbed off on Mandalorian and Grogu, and we're just not seeing the reception from the trailers and promotional material that we should be seeing. That's most unfortunate. And I do believe, right, Rangers of the New Republic, a lot of those ideas were folded maybe into season 3 of The Mandalorian and Grogu, and that's why it was kind of shifted around when it came to focus.
My feeling on season 3 and the Book of Boba Fett as well, I was thinking about this recently, is that I actually don't think much got folded in there. I think they sort of made a lot of that up off of the seat of their pants because um, the firing of Gina threw all of John's plans kind of into disarray.
Right.
There was a 2 to 3 year delay between season 2 and season 3. But one of the things that I questioned, and this is kind of why I'm thinking this way, is that for season 1 and season 2, they released art books. And for the other shows, they also released art books. They did art books for Rogue One. They have a new one coming out for Andor season 1 and 2, all of that stuff. They never released one for The Mandalorian season 3. They never released one for the Book of Boba Fett. They do have one coming out for The Mandalorian and Grogu. It'll be released in November. And what they say is it's going to have selected artwork in it as well from The Mandalorian season 3 and the Book of Boba Fett. And I got to thinking to myself, why would they do that? Why would they not release those art books, but then include some artwork for this one movie? And the answer that I came up with is because they didn't have enough artwork to create a book. They had to essentially replan everything. I'm sure they had artwork for what was originally intended for The Mandalorian season 3 and the Book of Boba Fett. But when Gina was gone, it altered their plans. And I think a lot of that shows, especially in the editing of the Book of Boba Fett.
Interesting.
I got to say, if so much was lost for me when what happened to Gina happened in what was it? Was it all the way back in 2021? I think it was, right, when she first got fired.
It's right after the finale of season 2, right?
And I don't know how many fans are like me. I really don't. I mean, maybe I'm the only one, but for me, bringing Gina back would be a huge mend of fences that would actually get me interested again. I probably still won't watch Acolyte because I have not yet. Lauren, I didn't have to sit through it like they made you do, but like it would go a long way. I do wonder what percentage of the fan base bringing Gina back would tick off enough. How many of those people would actually stay away, because you have people that are in fact politically divided on certain things. And it would be a really interesting thing to see what would happen to the fan base, because it would also give Disney knowledge of how many people are loud but few versus how many people are quiet but many.
Here's my take, and I want to make absolutely clear I could be completely wrong about all of this. I have no inside knowledge. I'm just thinking about the way that Lucasfilm has operated, and if I had the challenges in front of me and I had to figure out how to get out of it, how would I deal with it? So that's what I'm putting out here. But the real danger, I think, for The Mandalorian and Grogu is that I think most people are not intending to go watch it. I think that they think it's going to drop on Disney Plus in a few weeks, and they'll just wait for it to come there. They need The Mandalorian and Grogu to do something. Otherwise, it's going to have a 50% drop off on the second weekend. If they have a major surprise that people get excited about and talk about, that will fuel a ramp up in audience. So the real question for me is, how desperate is Lucasfilm now? And the moves that I'm seeing them making tell me they're more desperate than they are trying to appear to be. I think an absolute mandate has come down from on high that says enough is enough. We paid $4 billion for this. You're going to fix it, or you're at least going to try to fix it. And I think the major impediment to doing that is now gone. If you want to buy goodwill, you've got to throw the audience a bone. And right now, Gina's the biggest bone they got.
Well, one thing's for
Hold
sure.
on a second, guys. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
Jeremy, you got to leave?
Oh yeah, I gotta get
Sorry.
ready for the stream. No, you're fine. Yeah, I gotta bolt and get set up.
All right. Catch you later, man. Where can people find you?
Over on Strings and Pucks, I'll be live in an hour, and that's pretty much where I hang out, man.
All right. See you later, brother. Bye.
All right, see you guys.
Thank you so much, Jeremy.
Sorry for
And
cutting.
Well,
it.
no,
you're
I
good. I got to go after this, but I do want to say one thing, and this is important.
please.
They can bring Cara Dune back with one simple line. Somehow, Cara Dune returned.
Well, did they say anything when they removed her in the series? I don't
Sort
remember.
of. There was a brief line in season 3 that indicated that she was off, presumably with the Rangers, but that she was
Yeah.
not on Navarro. They didn't kill her off.
No,
They
they did
just
not.
gave a very vague explanation for why she wasn't on screen.
So that means they left an opening to bring somebody back to play
Yeah,
that character.
Precisely.
And probably were trying to figure out who that character would be besides her back then. That's how I'm looking at it. You know,
Another thing to think about when we're talking about the timeline of events here is that when the news came that Kathleen Kennedy was going to be leaving, that she denied, it was immediately after that that the lawsuit was settled as well. I think that this is again why I think that things started coming down internally. You're going to fix this because everything went quiet. We had been hearing rumors, we'd been hearing leaks, we could see activity, and then nothing. And to me, that says somebody inside said, Kathleen is leaving. There's a new sheriff in town now. You now have expectations. We're going to pivot. And they have quietly, very quietly, for a year, been preparing for the pivot. We are seeing the very beginning parts of that right now. I don't think that they know exactly what they can or should do yet because it's like there's what the audience wants. And as much as I hate to say it as a fan myself, they can't give us what we want. It would be impossible to give us what we want. So what they have to do is figure out what can they give us that would be acceptable to us and get us excited enough to give them another chance. I by no means think that they're going to succeed, but they're at least trying. And I'm willing to give them credit for that because they weren't before.
I'll add this in order to lend credence to your argument there, Lauren. I think they are keeping a lot of things secret for various reasons, and it's very interesting. And I think the idea of getting the Huts involved, well, it might explain some of the imagery that we've been seeing from promotional material, but also too, Bob, to bring it back to the parks a little bit here. I thought it was very unusual how Disney made this big thing. I think it was D23 2024, where they said, "Hey, we're bringing Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run a new mission, right? And we're gonna overcome a lot of these issues that you've been having." And I think Disney Tourist blog actually had a nice breakdown of some of the stuff that they're doing, like bringing in Grogu, having the engineer handle that position, also too having them select where the mission actually goes from from the midpoint. I do believe there's a whole bunch of things that they've revealed about this, but one of the things that they said was this wasn't coming out until May 22nd, which I thought was really weird because the issues plaguing this attraction have been well known and well documented for the 6 years it's been around, or 7 years it's been around. And so it's like, why wouldn't you want to bring this out immediately? And the only thing I can conclude is that this is a very conscientious effort to not only incorporate Mandalorian and Grogu, but also too, if it's going to feature references to the movie, which that's why they've chosen this date, is so it can be simultaneously viewed when the movie's out. Then you're keeping back a lot in order to make that movie and its plot lines and so forth very, very significant. And so, Lauren, to your point, I think they are keeping some stuff back in order to do some much more substantial things when it comes to story. Go ahead, Bob.
And
Yeah.
to be fair, that's a risky strategy. The smart play would be we've got to let people know they need to see this. But I think that the brand is so damaged that they feel they can't do that.
True.
They've actually got to let word of mouth be organic. And again, that's all assuming any of this is right. We could be completely wrong. It may be just a fun adventure movie and that's it. And if
we're
that's
just
the
all
case,
speculating. That's it.
Yeah.
I want to cut in real quick. We got two people that want to bounce. I think we got Ron wants to leave. So here's your outro, Ron. Where can everybody find you? And then Bob's gonna be next.
Well,
Yeah,
no, actually, I'm gonna stay for just a little bit.
You're gonna stay. Okay.
follow the Bradley's Fun on YouTube. Pretty easy to find there, and then I'll be on that Park Place sometime during the 4 to 5 o'clock hour, I think, and for their 30K celebration.
Very
And
cool.
I've got another video coming out probably later today if I can get it finished. If not, it'll be tomorrow on Star Wars. As a matter of fact, talking about Oscar Isaac and what he had to say about adding in that line very, very last minute. All right. And with that, I'll see you guys soon. Ciao.
See you later on.
All right. See you, Ron.
Ron's great. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Bob.
Awesome. Okay.
So I was gonna say, the thing that really bothers me, is that they had said, "Hey, we're gonna bring out the Mandalorian Grogu on the Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run in 2025," and then of course they were like, "Oh, we're waiting until 2026," and of course it was because of the movie. Okay, no problem. But I was always disturbed because in the beginning, when they launched Galaxy's Edge, it was supposed to be 3 different missions that you could choose from, or it might be just random that you would get. And I thought that was a great idea. And they only stuck to this one. And while the one mission is, it can be fun. I mean, it's so done and over with. They should have had new missions sooner. And my understanding was they had the other 3 missions done. They just didn't, release them. And so when I finally, realized, okay, it's coming out this year, this is great. And then I don't know if you noticed, and we were kind of talking about this in the Park Streamers Hangout last week or this past week, but they're not doing Season of the Force. It's like, what? You're not doing Season of the Force?
Yeah, that is weird.
Right? It's always been Season of the Force this time of the year. And it would seem to me that this is a great thing to say, oh, Season of the Force, and we're doing this. This year, it's like, nothing about the BDX droids. Oh, we are going to bring the original trilogy characters. So we're going to have Darth Vader and the Imperial Stormtroopers and Leia Organa. And by the way, it's not Princess Leia, it's Leia Organa. It's got, Han Solo. Oh, okay, cool. So we got and Luke Skywalker's coming back. So that's great. I'm looking forward to that. And they are going to separate the characters. Okay, cool with that. To me, though, it was like, oh, we're going to do Space Mountain, Hyperspace Mountain. That's coming back too. And we're going to, change some things for the shops, like Black Spire Outpost is going to be the new shop taking over the First Order Outpost shop. So they're going to have some new items. Plus, Galaxy's Edge has gotten really old. Doc Ondar's has nothing but, just tired and merchandise that they need to, exchange and change out.
Right.
Same with, the marketplace. They really just need to start swapping things out. And I'm really excited to see this change, but this change is like way long overdue. And I think would have been really cool if they could have done this. And I'm sure they just didn't want to do the cost, but how cool would it have been if they were able to change Rise Resistance to, something about the Rebels instead, Rise of the Rebels or something. That would have been cool if they were able to exchange Kylo Ren for Darth Vader and the Stormtrooper helmets, if they'd have to exchange a whole Stormtroopers themselves, but it would have been really cool if they were able to do that.
To be fair, I do think that there are additional changes that will be coming to the park. I don't know when, but I think there's going to be more extensive set redressing.
Yeah.
I think so too.
One of the other things that I think we should be keeping an eye on is, and this may be another reason that is pushing the pivot. The narrative that they've tried to run this entire time is that the people that were against the sequel trilogy were just a vocal minority. But if you remember, I think was it last year? It would have had to have been last year because it was the anniversary. They put Revenge of the Sith out in the theaters again.
Right.
But it was just for a limited engagement weekend because it was going up against one of their more recent releases. And they didn't want the box office of Revenge of the Sith to overshadow whatever their other movie that they had coming out was. Next year is the 50th anniversary of A New Hope. They're doing a restoration of that movie, and it's the non-special edition version.
Ooh, big deal.
How much money do you think that movie is going to make back in the theaters?
I am going to see that if it's in IMAX, and I'm going to pay for it.
They can't spin that narrative. Yeah. And that I think that's going to be the final nail in whatever this Kathleen version of Star Wars has been.
Well, going back to, because I think to make the point about the Mandalorian Grogu, because like Vash, I was thinking, hey, So season 4 is coming back. Oh no, it's not. Oh, that's okay because we have Smuggler's Run coming back. Oh wait, Smuggler's Run is not having the new movie until around the actual Mandalorian Grogu movie. What?
Right.
May 22nd? Really? But I think it's because they want to see how the original trilogy characters do and whatnot. They didn't want to, incorporate the Mandalorian. I think they wanted a clear understanding. Okay, this is what we're doing, and then here's a Mandalorian Grogu film. We're going to release it a little bit later. That way, they can get a sense of what people are really into it. Now, Mandalorian Grogu go into the actual, eventually the trilogy and whatnot. But I think that they're just trying to keep it separate. But I think it's a mistake on their part. I think they should be releasing it a little bit sooner, because right about the time the movie comes out is when they're probably going to stop doing the original trilogy characters in Galaxy's Edge, because they haven't actually given a full timeline of when it's supposed to end. But usually it's the end of April to the beginning of June.
Do,
So that
do you
would
maybe
play right
think?
into that.
Do you maybe think they actually took scenes from this new Mandalorian movie and put it in for the ride, and that's not why they're not doing it. They're not releasing it right now.
It's possible.
It's possible too. That could be it as well. But I am looking forward to seeing what it's going to be like, and I think it's going to be a nice addition to what The ride's not a bad ride. It's just kind of old and stale, and I'm kind of tired of it. So.
Well, it's interesting because I think Josh D'Amaro coming out and saying, "Hey, I guess like this ride, I don't love it," I think was a really big admission there that maybe they didn't quite get the mix correct. I do agree with you, Bob. It would have been great to have multiple missions on day one. From what I've heard is that the missions were a little bit more complicated than they were originally anticipating. Also, too, that this was at a time when they were trying to cost cut a little bit. So not only did we have a lot of characters and entertainment that was cut, but also too that might have involved the missions as well, which is most unfortunate because we know the potential of that ride, what it could be. It just didn't really quite live up to it. So I'm very interested to see what they do with this obviously new mission and everything like that. Hopefully it re-energizes fans, because even though you might see wait times associated with the East Coast version of this attraction, West Coast, with so many annual pass holders, people coming back over and over again, we've seen that line diminish to like 15, 5, 10 minutes and so forth. So hopefully that balances out and everybody goes there. But it is weird how you don't have Season of the Force. Oh, go ahead,
My dream
Tom.
would be if they redid the gunner's seat to where you actually go in the damn gunner's chair and have your own screen and be able to move around. 'Cause
Well,
I'm pretty sure Lauren would get on that ride too if they did that.
Sure, everybody would love that, but obviously,
Yeah,
you're working
I was
within
kind
a
of let down with that. That's
yeah,
just,
it's
pipe
it's a
dream,
pre-designed
but, hey, it'd
format.
be cool.
You're working within the confines of what they've already installed, and unfortunately, there's no gunner seat to be had, which is
Take it all
most
down and
unfortunate
put
for
a new
sure.
one in.
But it's like, okay, we're bringing back we're not bringing back Season of the Force. We are bringing back Hyperspace Mountain, which is very interesting because that features some sequel trilogy stuff. If for those keeping real track of all of this, okay, Star Wars Night comes back, very popular this year. I think a lot of that predicated on the characters being restored to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. But then Star Wars Galaxy's Edge has its own timeline issues. Doc Condors is being changed with different props and so forth. A lot of mixed messaging coming from all of this. Go ahead, Lauren.
There are some issues. It's like I said, that one of the things they have to do to fix this is to jettison the sequel trilogy. I don't think that they can do that as a practical matter. But what they can do, in my opinion, is, and again, I feel like right now they're in a research period. They're trying to figure out what can we do to try and retain and improve the fortunes of this IP that we bought to the greatest extent possible. That doesn't mean that it's going to be the juggernaut that it once was, but how do we at least stop bleeding? Now, one of the reasons it would be difficult for them to jettison, in one sense, is that in The Mandalorian, there are at least two different lines that exist in the series that point to things that will later happen in the sequel trilogy. But the way things used to work in the old EU is George's canon was the only absolute canon. And then you had the EU materials, which would be the games, the comics, the novels, all of the stuff that we came to think of as Star Wars as it expanded. And they would write stories, and then you had different authors that were involved. They tried to interoperate as best they could, but inevitably errors are going to be introduced. And then George himself would stomp all over what happened, and they'd have to retcon and figure out, how do we fix this?
And this is where you get different gradations of lore, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes, but a lot of times what happened is that if something just became unsalvageable, you would have something that would essentially overwrite it, and so a lot of it was not as cohesive as people tend to think of it, with rose-colored glasses.
Well,
Things would
absolutely.
get over the biggest offender there is when George decided suddenly that the prequels were going to be 21 years before A New Hope instead of, say, 47 to 50 years. That caused some glaring dating issues for not only the Thrawn trilogy, but also the A.C. Crispin Han Solo trilogy. It caused all kinds of problems with
Right.
timelines. People will say, well, you can't do that with the Disney canon because all of it is supposed to be of the same value. It's all considered canon. It's like, really?
Nope.
Dave Filoni has stomped all over the comics and the novels that they've already published. It's why they're not selling anymore. Everybody got the message that none of it counts because Dave's just going to overwrite it himself.
Right.
So I think the smarter move is get back to the timeline closer to the original trilogy, redirect some of those story seeds that you planted in The Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett, and instead have them bear different fruit. What you do is you don't come out and say, we're getting rid of the sequel trilogy. What you do is you just gradually overwrite it and route around it over time until it's sort of kind of forgotten as this weird thing that happened that we don't talk about anymore. It's the old Klingons in the original series that don't have the bony head plate. It's like, what are those guys? We don't speak of them. That's right. There's a reason for that.
Well, okay. So, do you think there is a time in which you maybe have like this alternative timeline take place, in which you have, in these years this timeline was relevant, but now going forward in this kind of almost multiverse kind of thing, you go off into a separate timeline in which you maybe don't speak or reference the sequel trilogy. Does that happen?
I I think right now is the most critical time for Star Wars since George Lucas sold it. I think
Absolutely.
they have a year to figure out what are we going to do, and they have to execute flawlessly. The only thing that gives me hope here is Jon Favreau. This is the guy who created the MCU. This is the guy who knows how to do this kind of storytelling. This is the guy who was doing that kind of storytelling until Kathleen sabotaged him. He's the one that's going out and doing all the promotional work for The Mandalorian and Grogu. It's not Pedro Pascal. It's not Dave Filoni. It's Jon Favreau. I think a lot depends on what happens with this movie and whatever happens with Starfighter. And I think that's going to give Disney and Lucasfilm the absolute concrete data that they need to know where do we go. And if they make a decision and it's the right decision and they get the right talent in the right places, there's a chance. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Really, really
Crazy
interesting.
how this was such an amazing franchise and it's just gone down the tubes. I did not think that this is what was going to happen when Disney took it over. It was my big hope it wouldn't happen, but I've been so disappointed, about everything that they've done. And look, there's a handful of things that were okay, that they've done, but most of it's been so disappointing. And it's so for me as a kid in 1977, seeing this in the theaters and just being amazed by it and being a lifelong fan. I've gotten to the point where, I remember when the sequel trilogy came out and The Force Awakens, okay, whatever. Rogue One, I really enjoyed that. But by the time, they started coming out with the other films, I was just like, the trailers came out, I was like, I don't really care. I don't want to see it.
I want to make I want to make clear I'm not reflexively an anti-Disney Star Wars guy.
Right.
There are actually some things that I think Disney did in some ways better than the old EU. I have no problems with The Mandalorian season 1 and 2. Season 3, that's difficult to paper over. That's a problem. But I think if they want to rescue it, they can't jettison it. They got to figure out a way to fix what they broke there. That's maybe in some ways the most difficult lift. I think Rogue One can stay. I think Andor can stay. I actually kind of like Solo. I have some problems with Solo, but I don't hate the movie like some people do. Most of the rest of the stuff, I think, actually needs to go. I'm not a fan of Ahsoka season one, but I don't think we're getting rid of Ahsoka, and I think Ahsoka is actually going to be part of the rescue plan. So we'll see.
Shogi in chat brought up Obi-Wan did the most damage. I don't agree
Mm.
with that. What do you say,
I,
guys?
I yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, Lauren. I'll let you start first, and then
I,
I'll chime in.
Yeah, I'll chime in as well.
did the most damage? No. No, I don't
No.
think so. Did damage? Yeah. Obi-Wan had the same problem that the sequel trilogy did, which is that they were just relying on the names. You know, they thought that Star Wars fans would come to anything with Star Wars slapped on it. They didn't have a plan. They didn't have a good plan. They didn't have the passion for it. They wanted to push whatever their particular message was without thought as to they didn't want the audience they had. They wanted a different audience.
Right.
And
Mhm.
they were catering to that audience. And that is what has damaged the foundation so badly. They deliberately drove away the customers who made Star Wars what it was because they didn't like those customers. Well,
Which is
now they are bleeding heavily enough that they've got to figure out a way to bring them back.
right, which is weird
Right.
because I think The Force Awakens was an attempt to bring in just about everybody, especially the people who remember Star Wars for what it was, whilst trying to set up a new audience, right? Of course. I think the thing that did the most damage was certainly Last Jedi, and then everything kind of falls from that. But they had a redemption period with The Mandalorian and Grogu. I think everybody was like, you know what? Not so bad. We're getting back to this. We're getting back to what was good about Star Wars. Right after season 2, everything falls apart very rapidly, right? Because you have Gina Carano and that whole thing. You have Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett that comes out that really does some damage, and then you have Obi-Wan and all of that. But by the time Obi-Wan comes out, a lot of that damage has already taken place.
Yeah, I agree. So when I had seen Obi-Wan, I saw the first 2 episodes at Star Wars Celebration because they did a screening for it. And so I was like, okay, this looks kind of promising, but I'm not holding my breath here because, they've done some pretty bad stuff. And of course, as this show went on, what really hurt me is that they damaged the Obi-Wan character.
Yeah.
They, focused on, Leia being so important to, Force. What about Luke? I don't understand why they focus. Well, I know it's Kathleen Kennedy, but it really, really bothered me, and I felt like they were just destroying the characters that I enjoyed watching over the years. And so, by the time Obi-Wan ended, I was like, "Ugh, that was just a piece of
Right.
junk." Oh,
Good
I
one.
was so upset. In fact, I gotten from Star Wars Celebration. They had like these limited edition cereal boxes for Frosted Flakes. I collected a couple of the boxes. I'm like, throw those things away. I don't really care anymore. I would just
Have,
really bother me. And then the other thing was too, like Vash said, by the time they did Obi-Wan, there was a lot of damage already being done, and it was really, really disappointing for me. When I really just stopped caring about Star Wars was Last Jedi, because Luke Skywalker. When I was a kid, I dressed up as Luke Skywalker for Halloween. He was my favorite character. In fact, he's still my favorite character, in the Star Wars universe as far as
Same.
the heroes go. And to see his character destroyed like that and ended the way it happened, I was like, oh my gosh, what were they thinking? And I know they were going, she was going in a different direction. Ryan Johnson wanted to try to do something different, but you don't take a character who's beloved and then destroy that character.
Look what
And
they did to Han.
well, yeah. Look, Hans, Harrison Ford's been
I'm
wanting
sorry,
to be
but
killed out for a long time.
well, I'm not
But
worried. But what I'm saying is, it's like, okay, you figure Luke might be getting taken out with the lightsaber just because he's the Jedi. You
yeah,
didn't expect Han to get it through the chest to his own kid.
no,
you
I
guys
mean, look,
Go
huh?
ahead, Lauren.
have you guys seen the trailer for Trials of the Master?
I don't think
No.
so.
No.
Okay, so let me tell you about this because you may want to check it out. There is a guy who actually did visual effects work for Lucasfilm on Andor, who was not happy about Obi-Wan. So he has been taking the Obi-Wan series and recutting it as a movie and correcting it. He's he's inserting Luke back into the story. He's redoing most of the visual effects. He's color correcting the footage. It looks like he may actually fix the Obi-Wan story. It's not out yet, but it has an excellent trailer. So I would advise you, if you're interested in it, the cut that he's calling it is Trials of the Master, and it's his YouTube handle is Pixel Joker 95. But he did work with Lucasfilm. He's got the chops to pull something like this off.
Yeah, I'm just reading about it right now. It does look and sound like it's going to be a good thing.
That does look pretty
Actually-
promising right there. I mean, that's the most unfortunate thing about all of this is that the fans are usually the ones to make, great stuff better than maybe what Lucasfilm has had on offer. And that's the thing. I've really, when Disney announced that Bob Iger had cut that deal with George Lucas, I was actually very optimistic because I kind of understood, okay, look at the history. Look at Marvel and how it flourished under Disney initially anyway. Look at Pixar and so forth, and how that was, the best route to go for both companies. I said, look, if they handle this appropriately, we're going to be all right. If they don't, obviously, your worst fears come to fruition. But I think with
And
those, what I
At the
underestimated was that.
time, I think
Oh, go ahead, please.
we were actually enthusiastic about Kathleen Kennedy at the time too.
Absolutely,
because
yeah.
because you thought, well, she's got the history that you couldn't find a better person.
Oh my god! I mean, name somebody with a longer IMDb and with as many films as she has under her producer banner. I mean, it's extraordinary. So everybody's thinking this is the right gal for the job, and this is the right company for these stories to be at. But I underestimated, the Pixar thing and the Marvel thing. Those were turnkey operations, right? You just give those things more money and you get returns. But Star Wars really needed a structured plan right from the outset because they hadn't produced a film for 10 years or so forth, and all of that. So it was like, okay, well, how do we relaunch this franchise? And that's where I think everything runs askew, because I think Bob Iger is believing, okay, well, these guys are a lot more turnkey ready, and hand off the keys to Kathleen Kennedy, and we'll restart this engine here. But just underestimated how much work needed to be applied at a very pivotal point to really get this thing launched correctly. Go ahead, Lon.
At the same time, when she came in, they got rid of a lot of the old talent. Ben Burt got sidelined for Matt Wood. You lost a bunch of the VFX guys. It's like there was a real ageist agenda going
Absolutely.
on there. And I think that they mortally wounded it right at the very start, because they thought, we can do this better. We know better. We want to attract a younger generation who doesn't care about this old stuff, because we want to have revenues coming in for 40 years instead of 20 while the old generation dies off. It's like, guys, you didn't even sustain revenue for 10 years because you lost what made this beloved for people. You
Correct.
didn't understand the message.
Correct.
Gentlemen, I am going to show the originals and do it in a certain order to my granddaughter when she visits. Why, most people will do that when you love a product or anything like that, and oh, look who we got.
What's going on?
Wow. Uh-oh,
When
we've
they
been
pop
busted.
backstage.
No, we got something on stage.
We do.
We've been busted.
Somebody's about to take the keys back.
Uh-oh. Can't hear you. We don't have pictures for Lon and Bob now.
What? I'm here.
Uh-oh.
No?
Oh, are we still
We're
going?
still going.
There we
There we
go.
go.
Bunch of you heathens, you took over.
Arg, matey,
Well-
Lassie, how you doing?
I was somehow invited to this thing.
You're on board. You're all part of the pirate crew now. Here you go.
I didn't know it was going to be part of a mutiny.
No,
I
it's
know.
not a mutiny. This is just a rental space for 2 weeks. Waiting to see what I have planned for next week.
Well, I can't wait. It's funny. Erica's been inviting me on her show for weeks now. I haven't been able to join, and the one day that Tom takes over, Erica's not here. Whatever. I'm just
Well,
kidding.
she's here now. She's here now.
She's here now. Yes.
And the Dragon Queen was like, "This doesn't look like Erica." Like, nope, it's a bunch of grumpy old guys reminiscing about stuff that we care about.
Who are you calling
Hey, it's Brewed
old?
Banter. It's anything goes. I came on to say hi to Lauren because I have yet to be on a panel with him.
We haven't been on a panel together before?
I don't think so, or if we have, I just plain forgot.
Well, I edit so many of the videos back behind the scenes and I don't edit them. I quality control them and get them ready for launch. So I see you all the time, and I guess I just thought that we'd been on a show together. So hi, great to be together with you for.
Hola.
I know, this is so cool. And Barry, Bob, you're here too. I'm like, dang it, all the
Yes.
cool kids are here. Well, all of my panelists are awesome, all of them.
Well,
But we
I
got
couldn't
some
let Tom
really
down.
extraordinary folks here tonight.
We have a really cool crowd here, and I've been trying to banter and not doing it with rum. So be happy I'm drinking coffee.
Don't lie, you
I
always got
actually haven't
rum.
swore the whole time.
I got a funny story, but I can't say it right now. I have to wait a few weeks before I
Uh
tell you guys
Oh,
some funny stories. Oh my gosh.
send it over in the
Yeah.
private chat.
oh.
Yeah. Oh, jeez. Yeah.
So,
Um,
Erica, since we're
anyway.
talking about Star
Mhm.
Wars, where do you think, in your opinion, it went wrong for you the most?
Oh gosh. I would have to say, the- we watched the originals, growing up. Obviously, my dad loved the originals. He's a boomer, so that's what he grew up with, or what came into his life as a young adult and so forth. Um, I don't know. It just kind of got to a point where there were so many offshoots of Star Wars this and Star Wars that. By the time I wanted to attempt to get back into it, it was just all over the place. It seemed like there were all these different timelines, and I just didn't know where to start. I just gave up, and it was the same with Marvel. Everything just got so convoluted, and as a mom and a housewife, and I'm juggling real life, I didn't have time to sit down and just dissect all these different storylines and then piece together how they come together cohesively, if that makes any sense.
Get it? Get it?
Yep.
I hate to do this, but Bob, you got a jet?
Yeah, unfortunately, I got to get going. But thank you so much for having me on, Erica. I hope you're enjoying your vacation. Lauren, always great seeing you, and Vash, of course. But I appreciate the invite, and hopefully, I'll be able to get on here a little bit more now that things are a little calmed down with situation with my dad and everything. So,
Absolutely.
I'm so sorry about your dad, Bob.
thank you, Erica. I appreciate that.
Yeah, Bob.
All right. Well, hey guys, if you want to follow me, you can follow me over at Berry Place 28. I'll be streaming again on Sunday over at the happiest place on earth. It's Tiki Land Day, so we'll be covering that and all
Ooh.
the activities going on. So it should be a lot of fun. But yeah, come and join me, have some fun, and help raise some money for the Children's Hospital of Orange County, because we're definitely trying to raise money for that. So thank you so much for hanging out with me, or let me hang out with you guys today. And I hope you guys have a great weekend.
Love you, Bob.
You too,
Babe, I'm
Bob.
praying for
See you
you
later,
and
Bob.
your family.
Thank you. I
Good to
really
meet you, Bob.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Bye, guys.
Uh-oh. I put the wrong person away.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't. You did that on purpose.
No, I didn't. Did
Yes,
I?
you did.
Maybe.
Yes, you did.
Nah, I wouldn't do that. Well,
Never.
maybe I would. I'm
Never
a
touch a
pirate.
pirate.
A pirate's life from me.
Hey, I've been
Oh,
trying to
goodness.
rebrand as a dog metal band, okay? The pirate thing, I want to keep that on down low.
Hmm. Well, you just kind of said it on air.
Yeah, I know. That's the whole thing.
On low, but not on down low.
Yeah, I know. It's being a play on words. I'm just being a little bit strange. Uh-oh. Do we lose him?
Yeah. I don't know. I saw that too.
Are you still there, Vash?
It's a very sad Cyclops.
Yep. Yep.
Um,
You know, now
maybe,
you say that,
maybe
I'm
I,
never going to unsee that.
yeah, that's happened a few times to me in my life.
I can't hear him. I don't know. Did
Did he
he
get
say
kicked
anything?
offline?
He might have.
Oh, he was talking about that overheating CPU. I wonder if he hit a temp limit.
I th-
Oh
maybe
no.
that he was on a different machine. I thought. Is he back?
I can't.
All right, am I back now?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
Yeah, I can hear you
are.
now.
Okay, tried enabling some noise cancellation.
Your audio sounds good, but you look like Lauren said, a sad Cyclops.
I guess so. Wow, I don't know what's going on here. I have no idea what happened. You touch something behind the scenes and everything goes haywire. But
Well, I've been trying to highlight chats the whole time, and I forgot where the heck they put the comment barrier. And I'm looking for it. I'm trying. I'm like, okay, if I hit the wrong thing, I'm not. Yep. All right.
it's all a very different animal than StreamYard. So it's very interesting. Anywho's, but it tracking the history of all of this, tracking the history of obviously Star Wars and these franchises what we love so much has been really interesting, and I'm so glad that Lauren is here to take us through this. What has been at times depressing journey and at times very, very good. Look,
Yeah.
I like Mandalorian Grogu season 1 and 2. I even gave parts of Book of Boba Fett a chance, but man, it's just been a lot of misses than hits, especially the Acolyte era and so forth. Go ahead.
The promise of the coda of the season finale of The Mandalorian season 2 with the Book of Boba Fett was not lived up to in the actual season. Had they
Right.
given us what they promised in that coda, everybody would have been happy.
Sure.
Instead, they gave us remorseful Boba Fett decides he wants to be a mayor of a small Tatooine town. This is
That ticked me off so bad because I'm a big Boba Fett fan. Well, Lauren, did I ever show you the custom holster I had made? I got to send you pictures of that before all this came out. And it's like, that don't even get me started. Don't even get me started on that one. I almost threw the remote through the TV screen when I seen that.
this is a large part of the reason why I believe that Favreau was ultimately sabotaged with the firing of Gina, because the promise of what Boba Fett was going to be was right there.
Yes.
And what we got in that show, and even the Boba Fett reveal in season 2 before we got there, when he shows up and takes care of business on Tython, that is not the Boba Fett that was in the Book of Boba Fett.
Right.
And especially as you get closer and closer to the finale of that season, the effects start looking dodgier and dodgier. The decisions that are made by the characters make less and less sense, especially Boba in the final battle. I am convinced that massive on-the-fly corrections had to be made, and that's why we got what we got.
I mean, the speeder bikes and just
The Vespas, yeah.
I just can't. The Vespas. It just goes off the rails so quickly and so fast. It really is bizarre, but it all happens within quick succession, and it's just really good.
That spinning gun guy in that end battle.
Oh man,
It's like there's a moment. It's like, what are we doing here? Come on, guys! Nobody thought this was cool. And can you imagine? Can you imagine being the actor that's got to do that? You're going to be in a gun battle with Boba Fett, and you're sitting there in this ridiculous, somewhat cyberpunk themed outfit. But you're thinking, I'm going to look cool. I'm going to kneel down here behind some cover. I'm going to take aim. And the director says, I think you should spin. What? I don't think I heard you right.
If I were getting paid millions of dollars, I'd do whatever the director says too.
It's like, did you say spin? Yeah, let's try spinning. That's a good trick.
In a gunfight. In a gunfight.
That's what you take away from Phantom Menace.
With projectiles that are coming, actually, that are laser projectiles. What, they're going light speed at you? So,
Lauren, this is where the fun begins.
Yeah, it's where something began. It's like, this is how bad the Book of Boba Fett is. You have a climactic battle where Boba Fett is riding a Rancor,
Amazing.
and I'm going. I'm not feeling. It's like, how do you take that pitch and make it go? Nah, I'm bored.
That's crazy how we get from that to that point, and it's like
If-
nobody's interested by this point.
If this was done in a comic book, it would have been awesome. If
Oh,
if,
yeah.
if you gave a great artist that pitch and said, "Yeah, we're totally going to have Boba Fett riding a Rancor in the climax of the series," that artist is you're getting a 2-page splash that is just him rearing up on the back of the thing with an explosion behind him. That artist is going to be on the convention circuit selling that piece for years.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
I'll bet if you ask most people, how did the Book of Boba Fett end? Most people probably don't even remember the battle. I'll bet they can't even remember the droid that they were fighting.
I don't remember it
I
at
don't.
all. That's
That's
crazy.
my case.
Oh, man.
So
Really,
I
really
was playing with
interesting
some AI stuff just for the giggle. I took a picture that we took back at studios of the AT-AT that's there, with
Mhm.
Ewok. So there's people all over the place. So I was playing with this one, and I said, hey, remove all the people and replace them with Ewoks. It came out hilariously funny because
Uh-oh.
it's damn near good and it looks better than most of the stuff I've seen coming out from them for effects wise. I got to send you all that picture. It was kind of hilarious. I was like, wow, it did this good. It didn't give me any problems with it. It didn't say you can't do that's copyrighted. It was like, nope. Well, it's an offline AI, so yeah, it was kind of interesting.
Yeah, there's been some good stuff with generated by AI. Obviously, the limitations of the technology, people get really fixated on that. But in terms of quality of
Yeah,
storytelling,
it's just fun.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just fun. It's like, hey, I got a bunch of people who are doing all selfies and stuff. What's this going to do with Ewoks? Is it going to make them take selfies? That's what I wanted to see. Yeah, you have Wicked over there holding the phone up to its head. That'd be kind of comical.
that's funny. That's funny. Yeah.
Eric, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Just enjoying my vacation.
Yeah. So
That's
Away
just
from
not
you
me.
guys.
Well,
It's
don't
funny.
say it like that.
so that's I'm just like, she's probably on a sandy beach someplace. She's hiding her location. She ain't sharing the rum, guys. She was supposed to leave a crate of it for
I
us.
mean, I'm
So,
not sharing the tequila.
oh man,
You heard about that story about Disney and their use of AI internally, I guess. I guess they put out a
yeah.
report in which listed that one of their executives was using AI to the tune of 460,000 prompts within, I believe, a 9-day span, which was
What?
like,
How is that
what?
literally impossible? What? Did he tell an AI to go ping another AI and ping another one at the same time?
Right. That's the theory. The theory is that he was using bots in order to assist with his AI prompting, but it was still one of these unbelievable revelations that they were prompting as much as they were. And I think even in the article that brought this out, I think they had one guy on the record saying, "Yeah, they're enthusiastic about this stuff now, but how long will this last? Because even the token maxing and the costs associated with it must be extraordinary." Go ahead, Lauren.
Bear in mind, there are only 86,400 seconds per day. And so that, that's that's one prompt a second for about middle of 5 days. What could you possibly be asking?
I'm afraid to know what he was asking.
I was gonna say he might be in a
And you
relationship
know that from an
with
IT
AI,
sec,
right?
Lauren. Think about it for a second. It's like, do I really want to be the poor sob who has to review that log?
No,
I
no, but you'll probably use AI to do so.
Yes, you would.
yeah, that's
It's
ironic.
like, hey AI, can you scrub these AI logs? Thank you. And the AI comes back, I quit.
It was just so extraordinary. There's a I'll go ahead and send you the maybe I can share my screen because maybe people might not actually believe this, but here you go. I got the story right here. This is from Business Insider.
Hold on a second. This might take a second. Let's see if I can
Sure,
get
no
this to
problem.
go right. Because I'm playing with buttons and I don't want to end the stream by accident. There
But
we
it was,
go.
yeah, it was just so extraordinary to hear something like this come out. And clearly, Disney is implementing the use of AI. To what extent, we don't really quite know just yet. But then we've heard Imagineering utilizing an AI system they have called Jarvis, in which they're now pseudo providing research materials to Imagineers in order to go through the treasure trove of 70 years of Imagineering history, which to me signals that clearly they've seen that they have an institutional memory problem, having gotten rid of so many long-term talents, like what happened with Lucasfilm back in the day. So they're trying to overcome those issues with a lack of that by invoking AI. It's just really, really kind of fascinating to see kind of the industry shift in the way it is. And I don't know if everybody's completely using it in the ways that, well, might, benefit their business or even benefit the work output.
Yeah, there's going to always be people abusing it because they don't understand what the tools actually can do and limitations and stuff. And I
Right.
mean, 460,000 times in 9 days.
It's insane. I mean, it was extraordinary. My brother happens to be in the top 1% of all Chat GPT users out there, and I didn't even come close to these kind of figures. So
I mean, I'm not. You all know I use AI for a bunch of stuff and have it, but it's like I'm kind of blown away from that, and it's kind of it's like weird, it's like wow, that's just mind-boggling. I mean,
and I want to know what the costs associated with that
that
stuff
that's
is.
that's what I'm thinking. It's like, Lauren, you have any idea what the cost would be for that many token uses? I mean,
No, but that's what I was thinking when you initially brought this story up, is that clearly somebody didn't care about the budget that much.
Right. I mean,
no, it's
it's
like, hey, we're going to cancel your season. Why? Because well, the executive just ran enough AI bill up to cancel a whole movie, or TV show season budget. That's just bizarre.
Business Insider says tracking AI usage has led to a so-called, quote, token maxing trend, where software engineers compete with their peers to maximize their AI token usage when using chatbots. However, there's been a debate in the tech world about whether to incentivize high token usage given the associated costs. A person familiar with Disney's approach to the dashboard said it wasn't designed to incentivize high usage, but rather to help employees use resources efficiently and effectively. Disney employees are emboldened by managers to use AI tools more often, the streaming tech staffer said. Quote, they're celebrating it now, but we'll see how long that lasts. And this person said of AI usage at Disney. Good.
That's I'm just blown away.
There's an irony here in that we have sort of regressed in a way back to an earlier time of computing where you were dealing with mainframes and dealing with vertical slices of time. That's essentially what all of this is.
Right.
And is one of the reasons why I have more misgivings about AI and cloud computing than I think most people do, because this trend in this direction, I believe, is intended to try and do away with personal compute, which is why I'm strongly supporting what Valve is doing with SteamOS
Right.
and getting more, let's say, more out of older hardware by eliminating bloat, getting
I
you
agree with
off
you on
of the
that.
Windows plantation.
I agree with you that one. We've talked about that, offline, and I agree with you on that, and that's why I have my AIs are the ones most of them I'm using are now LLMs locally, and so that's we shall see where everything goes.
Mm-hmm.
We can only wish for the best, but I'm about to basically call it a stream just because we got a friend of mine starting up, and I like to support him. But let me outro everybody. Let's start with Lauren. Where can people find you?
Tonight we'll be doing the Lord and Apollo show at 8 p.m. Pacific time and 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're covering the cinema of 1983. It's part of the series that we've been doing on movies of the 80s. So if you like that kind of thing, join us there.
Awesome. And Vash?
Awesome stuff. Lauren always produces really, really great work. Definitely check him
Lauren,
out. Lauren and Apollo.
Lauren and Apollo is amazing, and when he starts going off and the banner between those two, you guys crack me up at night. It's hilarious sometimes,
Good
and
stuff.
especially when you have your other guests pop in.
Yes. Um, we are going to be doing some amazing stuff over there in Vash Sky Parkcast. Tomorrow, we're going to have our members only stream, that being Vash and Vixen, talking about Bat Day at Disneyland. And, well, at Disneyland, they used to have the Phantom of the Opera. As crazy as that sounds, it's even crazier when you actually look at the historical record and the footage related to it. Very interesting stuff indeed. Also, too, going over Disney, or what is it, Weddings by Disney, and how they're leveraging the Haunted Mansion and its associated IP in order to sell, marriage packages, or I should say wedding packages and so forth, and the costs associated with it. I think it would be kind of fun to go over. I'll also be on That Park Place's 30,000K stream. That should be a whole lot of fun. I don't know how long I'll actually be there for, but it should be very, very cool. And of course, we always stream to the public over there in Vash Sky Parkcast every single Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern and every single Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern. So definitely check us out. I think it's a really, really fun show. And Tom, thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you for showing up. And me, I'm on my little channel, TJ Magnifique, Tom F. I'm kind of modding everywhere. Let's see, Pro Show, your show, Vash. On Erica's here helping her as a producer and stuff. And I'm like a bad rash. I'm everywhere. That's not wonderful to say, but hey, it's true.
Bad pirate.
Bad pirate.
Like that bad penny.
That
Always
said,
showing up.
I'm gonna say see you later, and here we go.
Thanks.
And I hit the wrong button because I'm an idiot. So I'm just gonna say we're out of here.
Sorry, folks, park's closed. The moose out front should have told you.